Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Scott Newhouse. I am so glad that you are with me today. I want to talk about something that's just so important that I've been seeing in the news much too frequently, which is that if you're over 80 years old, I really think you need to avoid the stairs. You've got to find a way to stay away from those stairs. I've talked last year about ways that you can make your home easier as you age. I'm going to put that in the links in the description below. You should definitely go watch that video/podcast as well. And so there's ways that you can kind of prevent bad things from happening to you in your house. But really one of the worst things that I can imagine people over 80 doing is really going on the stairs much too frequently. And honestly, if you can avoid it completely, I think you should. But there are a number of news stories that I've seen in the news because a lot of our politicians are older and they have had a series of falls recently, and I kind of want to take you through it, explain why this has been on my mind. In 2024, I think this was in December of 2024, Nancy Pelosi, former Speaker of the House, she is still a House member, but she's not kind of leading the Democratic caucus. She was in Luxembourg for some kind of event, can't remember what it was, walking down a very unforgiving marble staircase. She fell on that, again, very cold, unforgiving staircase, and she ended up needing hip surgery because of that fall. Mitch McConnell, former leader of the Republicans in the Senate, and he's not the leader anymore, and I think he's not running for re-election I think that's the latest update on him. In 2023, he had a fall, fractured his ribs, and then suffered a concussion. And that was in 2023. Then in 2024, he fell again. He sprained his wrist and he cut his face. And I should mention, Nancy Pelosi, I think, is 84 years old. Mitch McConnell is 83 years old. And then there's a Congresswoman, Virginia Foxx, in January 2025, so just a couple months ago. She was, again, walking down a marble staircase. Very unforgiving. She fell. From what I could tell, and there's not as much press about her since she, is more of kind of a background member as opposed to Pelosi and McConnell, but from what I could tell from the stories about her, the injuries were minor, wasn't too bad, but man, still not easy and still really something that I think you should avoid if you can. So stairs above 80, it's just a really dangerous spot to be. And the numbers do not lie. I'm just reading these from various spots that I found online. 3 million older adults are treated in emergency rooms each year because of fall-related injuries. Unintentional falls are the leading cause of injury and death for adults age 65 and older. The most common injuries from falls include hip fractures, head injuries, and spinal cord injuries. Hip fractures alone lead to over 300,000 hospitalizations annually in the U.S. That's not necessarily older adults, but I am sure plenty of those 300,000 are from older adults. Traumatic brain injuries, often occurring from falls, occur in more than 50% of older adults aged 75 and older. And then falls cause around 34,000 deaths in the U.S. each year, making them the leading cause of fatal injuries among older adults. So I think you should avoid stairs. It's really, I don't want to say a national epidemic, but it's going around, and it's really one of the leading causes of a lot of pain and suffering and even death for older adults. Why is that the case? A few different reasons. One, falls are more likely when you have less strength. As we age, we're going to lose some strength, we're going to lose balance, stability, and we're going to lose reaction time. So just a really trifecta of things that we're going to lose as we get older. And all of that makes it harder to respond to like a quick, sudden fall. Second reason why stairs are so dangerous: injuries hurt the older you get. Injuries hurt more the older you get. So as we age, we're going to have changes in our muscles, tendons, ligaments, bones, etc. Our body's just going to change, and it's going to become weaker. Part of our body becoming a little bit weaker is that we have a heightened sensitivity to pain due to those changes in our body and into our nervous system. So those injuries that you have at 80, 85, they hurt much more than they would at 30 or 35. And it's just a night and day difference. And then the third reason why stairs are so dangerous is that recovery time takes much longer the older you get. We have reduced cell regeneration, which means recovery simply takes a longer time. So again, we all know in our teens and 20s, you can bounce back from things pretty quickly, and that's just going to slow down and take longer the older we get, and it's really going to accelerate in your 70s, 80s, and 90s. So how can you reduce your risk of falling? I've talked about this in the past, but one thing that I think every older adult needs to consider is that once we get past the age of 30, we start losing a little bit of muscle every year, which means, and then it really accelerates in your 50s and 60s. So you're losing that muscle. How do you slow down losing muscle? Not that you're going to be Arnold Schwarzenegger your whole life, but you've got to slow down that pace of losing muscle. You can do strength training, maybe a couple times a week. Maybe do it with a friend, maybe hire a personal trainer, what have you. Walks are great. Pickleball is great, obviously big among older adults, but strength training, there's no real replacement for that. That's going to help you reduce the risk of falling, give you back a little bit of that muscle strength, a little bit more balance, and it's just going to help reduce the likelihood of a fall, but it's not going to eliminate it. And then, I should also say, if you're on Medicare, some Medicare plans, you need to check your Medicare plan, offer a free gym membership. There are Silver Sneakers, that's one program, Silver and Fit, that's another program, and then Renew Active. These are programs that are part of Medicare Advantage or Medicare Supplement / Medigap, which are same programs, but it's just two different names, which constantly annoys me. So check your Medicare program to see if that's an option for you to get a free gym membership. If not, something local like Planet Fitness has cheap memberships, LA Fitness, a bunch of national chains should have you offer you a pretty affordable gym membership. And then the other way to reduce falls, and this is what I would do, is just avoid using stairs completely. Use a ramp, use an elevator. If you can avoid stairs getting into any type of building, you should. Most, if not all of them, have ways that you can get in there without those stairs. There might be some places where you can't. Then you've got to be really careful. But, in the insurance parlance, I think you can share risk with an insurance company, or you can avoid the risk entirely. So if you're worried about if you're worried about motorcycle injuries, well, one way is to wear a helmet, wear one of those body vests that's going to kind of protect you in a fall. That's one way to mitigate your risk. The other way is just to never jump on a motorcycle and only drive in a car where you're protected by other elements of the car. So I personally, if I was over 80, I would avoid the stairs entirely every single chance that I can get. That's my recommendation for you, but obviously that's up to you. But it's causing a lot of pain, suffering for people, so I would just avoid it if you can. Okay, I hope this helps. Definitely not a traditional financial episode, but I think it's very useful for people getting older in age. Maybe not for you, but definitely for your parents. And then, we're all going to get there, hopefully, eventually. So avoid those stairs if you can. All right, hope this was helpful. See you next time. Bye.